federal and state governments are working to alleviate the hardships being faced by Nigerians stemming from the removal of petrol subsidy. And just like President Bola Tinubu reeled out some measures to help cushion the effect of the subsidy removal, states are also taking a cue. Some have cut down on the number of work days for civil servants in the states, as well as announced an increase in the minimum wage for workers. Here in Lagos, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu announced a 50% slash in the transportation fares charged by buses operated by Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, and it takes effect from today. Now, the governor also said a 25% reduction by yellow buses across the state has been proposed to the authorities of Lagos Park and Garage. Now, this with us in the studio to help make sense of all of this is the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Lagos State, Boyega Akoshile. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
Thank you very much for the invite, Mike.
Yes.
And I said to you that since you become chief,
No, we're still performing the activity, We are servants of the people.
Chief,
Good to see you, though.
Good to see you too.
Thank you so much.
For having me.
Yeah. Now, Lagosians were really happy when they heard the governor announce some of the reduction, especially in the transport fares and so on. But they've been asking for more. Let us see more of these issues one way or the other. But speak to us about what the government is doing in that regard.
All right, thank you very much. If you have been following the activities of Mr. Governor since he assumed office in May 2019, you would have seen that the trajectory of a man who cares a lot about the people of Lagos State, a man who means well for the people. It's not a man who just mouths or just talks about it. It's a man who puts into action all that he says that he's going to do for the people. When you look across the themes developmental agenda of the governor, and of course, everything he said was going to do, he did to the best of his ability. Some to 100% level, some at 80–85% level. You can begin to distill them down in one form or another, from the transport themes, transport and traffic management, to education and technology, to making Lagos a 21st century economy, to entertainment and tourism, and of course from security. Of course, Lagos State is the most secure state in Nigeria. And now coming into second term, that humane nature, that governance with human face, which is an inherent nature of the man, which is a sine qua non of this governor. It's a characteristic feature born with him, has come to play. We looked at the removal of fuel subsidy. He didn't need anybody to prompt him, to prod him that, look, you need to do something. He'd been thinking. He had called stakeholders. He had engaged stakeholders. How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? People, will feel the pang, the pain of this the removal of subsidy. What are we going to do to, at least as a subnational? Don't forget that it's a federal thing. The body economy is at the federal level. But as a subnational, as a governor, he knows that over 22 million people are looking up to him for some sort of succor, for some sort of solution. So that's why it came about in the immediate time, some of the solutions that he brought. One, all the state transportation facilities, services, will be at 50%. And we're saying all of them. Talk about LAMATA buses, talk about lag ferry. By the way, a lot of people are moved on the water. We use the word, since the coming of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the waterways in Lagos have become very active. A lot of people now move, via the waterways. So everything will be at 50% reduction. That's huge. Where you used to pay 500 naira, you're now paying 250 naira. So it simply means that the government will be responsible for the 250 naira that has been removed from what you're paying. And we're talking about millions of people on a daily basis. That's a government that is thinking about the people. That's the government, that wants to work for the people and is indeed working for the people. And I'm going to say this, by the way. Now, governor is always, trying to drum it, home to reporters whenever issues like this come up. Do you know that in January of this year, even before the palliative, even before the removal of subsidy, the government of Lagos State, under the able leadership of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Hamza, they knew that the economy was already having some sort of painful effect on the people. And because they care about the civil servants, they increased the minimum wage of the civil servants. And they've been paying since January. So it's not now that everybody's saying, oh, increase, the wages and, salaries. We have done it way before subsidy was removed. In fact, President Tinubu had not even taken over the government as at that time. So he is very proactive. He thinks about the people. And in the area of health, do you know that from today, every pregnant woman that goes to our hospital will have their delivery free of charge? So those are some of the measures that the governor has put in place to ensure that in the immediate time, let us see what we can do to alleviate the suffering of the people. At least let us put some smiles on the faces of the people. Now, he now also announced that there will be a food bank, there will be food distribution, and he has not, come up with the model on how we're going to do it exactly. But I want to quickly take us back to when we had, the unfortunate COVID, which struck everybody like a thunderbolt. Nobody knew it was coming. But because it was, under a governor that is thinking and his team, we were able to arrest it, and we only did not deal with health issues, we dealt with security issues, and we also dealt with economic issues because there was hunger. People could not get food to eat. But what did we do? It made sure that it started this idea of food palliatives. Everything started from Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu before others started copying, other states started copying. It saved, what you can say, the whole of over 200 million Nigerians from what would have become, a serious disaster at that time. So we're going to have food distribution for the most vulnerable in the society, the poorest of the poor in the society. And how are we going to, do that? I know that we have some channels of distribution which the governor test ran, during COVID and subsequent times. We talk about the religious organization, the churches. We talk about mosques. We talk about CDC, CDA, local government. And I want to believe, because it's having a meeting with local government chairmen today, all over the state. It's having a meeting with them today. I want to believe that that's one of the reasons that is meeting with them. How do we do this? How can you identify those in their need of all these, what you call palliatives,
right,
so that it can get to the right, persons?
Right. Very important. But the issue of transport now, the interventions the governor is making in the transport sector, for example, has understandably generated so many reactions. Many are commending, but many are also, urging the government to look at the fact that not this BRTs, for example, it's not in every part of the state. There are areas where they do not, up till this moment, enjoy that opportunity. And what's the government doing in that regard? And has it taken effect? Because that's another question. How soon is that to take effect? Another issue is, the need for the CNGs. We saw that all the state governments, at the meeting in Abuja, keyed into the provision of CNG vehicles, and there was no mention of that in the governor's latest address. Help us to clarify.
Okay, so so for the CNG vehicles, it's work in progress, and if you take your mind back again, Lagos State government, in partnership with Oando, had already started something in that area. But of course, it will take a bit of time for us to begin to have a robust usage, maybe more vehicles, and I know that the governor has also. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet. I know what he has been doing in that area, but when it is ready, we'll make it public. Now, as per the number of vehicle in our fleet, yes, we keep increasing day in, day out. We keep increasing the number day in, day out. As we speak, we have ordered 40-seater, 40-seaters, 30-seater, high capacity buses. In fact, we told the journalists that they could go and check on the field where all of these vehicles have been parked. We're taking delivery of them, and so we're going to roll them out from today or from this week going on. So it's working on increasing all of these buses so that they can be on the road, so that nobody will be left out of this palliative packaging area of transportation, because we know that transportation is a very major area that people really need, and food. Once you have transportation and something to eat, I believe that a lot of the challenges are brought to the barest minimum. But the governor is working in this area. Now the question is, can we do more? Yes, the governor realizes that he can do more, and he thinks about it every time, and he's looking for solution, and he gets solution every time. But have we started doing something? The answer is yes. So that's that.
And you say it has taken effect.
Yes, it's taking effect. From today. Today is Wednesday, okay. So it's taking effect from today. So you can drop your vehicle on your way.
For the yellow buses as well.
Okay, so for the yellow buses, it's a private sector. So I've read some reactions. Some people even said, "Oh, so why would the governor tell them to do?" Governance is about stakeholder engagement. All right? They do business in the state, and they are part of the engine of the state, making the state to function well. Forget about the fact that people think, oh, they are illiterate or this or that. They are very, very important part of you and me, because we use their vehicles every day to commute from point A to point B, all right? So there had been an engagement with them, and they let them understand, why, they had to do this. So, and of course, they themselves being responsible citizens, they keyed into it.
Yeah,
and that's
what some persons are looking at is, for the LAMATA buses that are owned by the state government, it's easy for government to say, okay, slash the salaries right now. Whatever the thing is, follow that instruction. But the private ones, the yellow buses who are owned by, different people and so on, when the government tells them slash your bus fares
by 25,
and they are still going to buy the same, fuel at the amount that every other person is going to buy, that shortfall, what is government doing for that shortfall?
Okay, so they operate at their level of association, I think NURT or something. So government is engaging with them. And I know that there are talks about how to mitigate the effect of the shortfall. So they don't have a problem with working with us. No, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is a very responsible leader, and it's not someone who will not think about their own the negative effect of whatever decision that they're taking on them. So everything has been handled by the government, and where the most important thing is the people, you and me, that will use all of these services.
But how certain are you that that will also take effect? The slash in bus fares, through the yellow buses. How certain should Lagosians, Lagos residents, be that that will take effect today? I think the government gave a hint.
So ours is from today, from Wednesday. I believe very strongly that theirs will also take effect. I know that nothing, because they agreed with the government. It's an agreement, it's an understanding between them and the government. I believe that they will not default.
All right, let's talk about I don't know if you can share with us about the social register that the government of Tinubu, the federal had talked about. Now, they said that the initial social register that was used to distribute palliatives to Nigerians and all of that was not robust enough, and then it was not all-encompassing. And the governors were at that meeting where they agreed to expand the social register and then also bringing more people and also the level of input to be wider, as the case may be. Speak to us from that window as to what Lagos State is doing in that social register, because people want to see, if they say palliatives are being distributed, who is the person getting it? Because sometimes either it's not there on the media to know who are the persons. Okay, did they go from door to door, or did people converge somewhere? All of these things sometimes are not known, and also the publishing the names of people or institutions who are in charge of these things. These are all the things the transparency Nigerians want to see, especially Lagosians. So share with us from that window.
So I must tell you that it's a major concern for all of the governors, and my principal is not an exception. And we know that in Lagos State we have social register that is not robust enough. And as at the last time, we have well over 1 million, 1-point-something million people on the social register. And the governor has mandated some agencies to keep working on the social register. And by the time they're done, we will have a very robust one. And of course, you can be rest assured that the people that will get the palliatives, whatever the federal government gives and what we are also giving, are the real people that these palliatives will be meant for. All right? Now, if you also take your mind back to what I said earlier, we have a mechanism of reaching the vulnerable in the society. We use the churches. They know their members. They know the vulnerable ones in their churches. We use the mosques. We use the CDAs. We use the CDCs, and we use local government. We use market men and women associations. We use traders associations. We use the artisan associations. We use all sorts of layers like that. Different levels. So those are those are the components that we put together that make a whole. So we know how to reach these people. And if you remember very well that when we first started during COVID, there was some sort of outcry that, some people were, were hoarding, some people were, and then the governor had to say, you know what, stop. Bring me all the details. I want to know. And the governor personally sat on it. Use this, use that, use that. And after a while, we didn't hear any cry. You remember, we didn't hear any cry about it again. So it's a process that I would say that is not data-driven, but say, as at that time, that was tested. But going forward, we want a data-driven process that we will know that Mr. A lives at number 4B, XYZ Street. Mr. B lives, so we know who we're giving anything that the federal government and what the state government has approved for the people. But you can be rest assured, Mike, that in Lagos State, we have the people covered. Governor Sanwo-Olu has the people covered because the only thing he thinks about is how he's going to leave his name in the minds of the people as a man who came, met Lagos where it was, and took it from where it was to where he wants it to be. And that's why it's hard, what we call Thames Plus for his second term. And I believe it's walking the talk. And
again, there is in Lagos already, I know the government has always emphasized the need for residents to be duly registered, as residents in the state. How is that, being harnessed, especially with this issue of, social register for states to take ownership of this state, of this social register, and for more residents, especially those that truly need it, to be able to benefit from this intervention programs of government?
So it skipped my memory. I was going to mention the issue of state registration of residents, which is also a major part of what we use as for the social register, and it's going to be not integral. It's going to be a major part of it. And that's why we say that people should do their registration. LASRA, get their LASRA, because it enables the government to know you, to know who you are, and it allows us that when we want to do something for you, it's easy to target you and reach out to you. I wonder why people don't know that this thing is for them. It's very easy. Just go to LASRA office or get their application online and register. And when your card is ready, they'll call you. You get your card. But it allows us to get everybody captured. And of course, when things like this happen, we don't need to start reinventing the wheel or start going back and forth on who are we talking to. We already know who you are.
Is government satisfied with the response?
Okay, so in the last 1 year, the response has been better than what it used to be. So I believe that more advocacy will be done around it for people to know that, look, you need to come forward for your registration. I wonder whether Mike has done his LASRA.
Yes, I have.
You have, okay.
Right.
So
I have. I'm a good Lagosian.
So you are captured on our date.
Exactly. I have, and I'm proud of it.
You don't need the palliative, so
everybody needs that palliative somehow.
For the governor said for the most vulnerable in society.
We are vulnerable. Anyway, good to know. But the point there is, before we go, there's one thing that Lagosians, because the fourth mainland bridge is what I'll need you to speak to us about. It's one item under the themes because it's transportation and the traffic is related to traffic management somehow. A lot of people see the fourth mainland bridge as a backbone of transportation and commuting in Lagos, because the weight and the pressure on the third mainland bridge when you drive on it is palpable. You can feel it, you can see it. The age of the bridge, the pressure of the bridge. And a lot of people, if you see the number of people coming from that, the Ekpe, the Ikorodu access connection to Victoria Island and all of that, a lot of persons are very concerned that the fourth mainland bridge has not commenced till now.
Okay, so you've touched on an area where the governor is actually the best person to speak on because he's very passionate about it. He talks about it all of the time. He knows that this is one area that can help to further stimulate development and increase the economic capability of Lagos State. Currently Lagos is the gateway to Nigeria. Lagos is like the mini Nigeria. Of course, the fifth largest economy in Africa if it were to be a country, but it's a subnational. You know, it has about $120 billion in GDP. You understand? So that's a huge economy for a subnational. But can we do more? Can we do better? Yes, the state wants to open the government, especially under Governor Sanwo-Olu, wants to open up Lagos State for more, because we realize that tons and tons of people come from outside of Lagos every day, not to go back. They come in, when
to stay.
When it's like the Japa syndrome. The Japa from other parts of the country is Japa into Lagos. You understand? Every day. They don't go back. So what will the government do? And we're talking about a very tiny state in the whole of the country. So it knows that we have to do. So the fourth mainland bridge, by the grace of God, will start this year. By the grace of God. They've done the hardest part of it, which is putting all of the bidding papers together, and the preferred bidders have been shortlisted. They've been announced. We announced the preferred bidder, and at the second level choice, so that there's a backup. So that's according to the governor, that's the hardest part. Okay. The rest, is like.
I just wanted to spare a few seconds. I know we've run out of time, but in view of the doctor's strike and the advantage that residents can be in now at this time, now that they can go in for free Medicare, especially for pregnant women and women who will deliver soon. How is that, panning out? How can residents navigate that
in 1
issue?
second?
Well, the primary health care in Lagos State is very key, paramount to the administration of the governor. It's just for them to walk to the general hospitals, and they've been told, they've been briefed. The hospital management, have been briefed. They know what to do.
There'll be an arrangement for them. All right. Thank you so much, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Lagos State, Boyega Koshile. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.